start putting those points I captured earlier and create better indicators here. So there's this little place mark indicator. I'm going to put one in for every one of them. I'm going to call this Northwest Stake. I'm going over there. I can take this position here, the Northwest Stake, and that takes care of latitude, longitude. Go to the next one. Copy, paste. I wish this was a faster way, especially when you have a lot of points right now. But I at least have it labeled, and I can go ahead and close it, and you'll see that it put the our little bookmark there. And I'll quickly do the same for the remaining. There we go. Got two. Go up to about where I think the southeast and southwest points would go.
Still working hard on it?
So now we have the 4 initial points, and I'll quickly click through and get the other ones for along the roadside here and get them documented. I'll zoom up a little closer. See here my points, so I've identified them all now. The little angles along the road here are all in place, and they're over in this places area in Google Earth. And of course you can go here, save my places so you don't lose anything. And then what I'm going to do, the next step, is to actually connect these dots so we actually have a boundary. And you can do that by drawing a little polygon up here. Add a polygon. And I'm going to just give this the name of the property address, 1186 Deer Canyon Trail. Drag it down. Next one. Next one. Next one. Next one. Okay. That is our little boundary here, and I'm going to go ahead and save this. And I'm going to change one other thing about it. Make sure we have some real good clear lines here. Let's change the opacity. There, now we can see it all together real good. And then we can save this. We'll zoom up again. So when it's zoomed up, we have now the ability to start adding a lot of data points here. And I'm going to put thousands of points here. I'm going to call it pretty much the same thing, but this will be the polygon perimeter. It'll be what they call the path. And we're just going to collect a lot of data points here. So I think this needs to be open. Oops, come on. Then here we go. So I would start at one corner. And let's just try to stay in the polygon. Try to get lots of little points here. Okay, I think we've got a lot of data points here. So let's go ahead and save this. And there we go. So the next little trick is let's go ahead and export this. I'm going to save the place first. Oops. I want to save the overall activity here, save my places. And then if we go down to the trail path, then we can go and save my place as, and you want to save it as a, I think it was a KML file. I'm going to create a special folder to store this. So this will be 186 Canyon Trail. Go in here, save the KML file. Okay, then we're going to jump over and go to GPS Visualizer, and I'll put a link to that channel down below here. That's this site here. And that's gpsvisualizer.com/elevation. Again, the link's down below. I'm going to go choose the KML file. Here it is, what I just saved. Convert and make this a GPX file. There we go. And you'll see here, this is the file we download at GPX. And that will be over on, oh, I think went to downloads. We'll copy it over to a better place. I'll just give this the same name. 186, and then trail, GPX file. And from here, we go and go into TCX converter. Take the GPS converter. And we have altitude here, as well as latitude, longitude. Takes a moment for it to do the conversion. So go ahead and convert it. No. And from here, we'll open up spreadsheet. And we have our altitude column, latitude and longitude here. These first two columns we don't need, so go ahead and delete them. The last few columns we don't need, delete them. And then let's insert a column here. We have to swap these, the latitude and the longitude. The longitude has to come first, so I'm gonna cut it, paste it over here. And then the altitude, that'll be our altitude in feet. You'll see it defaulted to meters somehow. I haven't figured out how to do it in feet other than this slow, methodical way, which is you go ahead and do a calculated formula here. It's going to be D2 times 3.2084. That's how many feet are in a meter. So let's go ahead and start copying, pasting. And for grins, let's also round them up. Formatting the cells. Well, actually, we got to do something else first. We got to take this column, copy, paste it over here, but only paste the values, not the calculations. So if we look here, yeah, we just got the values. Now we can get rid of these two columns. And we have what we need. However, I'm going to change the format of this. We round up to the nearest tenth. 1 decimal point. There we go. And we also do not need the labels here. So we'll delete that row. And finally, we're going to save everything. Yes, keep the formatting. And save. And we're just going to write over this. Yes. Now we have our spreadsheet, and go over to Quick Grid here, which the link will be down below. And we're going to input scattered data. One of the things I anticipate being wrong here is when I collected that 10,000 plus data points on the original map, for whatever reason, it can't go beyond that amount. And I think we lost some of the data in the higher elevations because as we were scanning through, I didn't see any data points that altitudes converted over, to 7,000 feet and above, which there should have been quite a bit. But let's just see what happens when I input that spreadsheet. Go to 1186 to Canyon. Okay, now it shows like this. It keeps defaulting. I don't know why. I keep overriding it every time I use this. I come down to edit, contour intervals, and labels. And I change this to 10. This to 10. And that to 10. I say, okay. Yeah, there's a lot of data points. And it looks kind of 3D. Options, no color, include contour lines, comments. Okay, this looks like a little map. And then page up, sure it. Press my function key and my picture camera insert button. Copy to my image editor. I do a copy to clipboard. I do a save as because I like saving it in multiple formats. I know my designer, John, he likes it in TIFF. And then save it again in a JPEG. But there's many other formats here you can save it as, but whatever works for you. This is what's been working for me. Okay, done with that. Done with this. Then what I like to do is go find the file. Whichever one you like editing, I like bringing up the JPEG. Oops, wrong tool. I like to bring up Paint, MS Paint. You just go to Edit. If you're in Windows 10, Then from here you can kind of approximate. I like to use the second size. Oops, let's remove that. I want to go straight lines. And a grass down here. Pretty sure the points kind of came down like that. Okay, I think that's about where the points would have been. Let's erase some of this. I think these were boo-boos I'm cleaning up. I think now I can overwrite. Save this file. Now I can go back up to Google Earth. We can kind of hide this, at least the little line drawing path information. It's kind of distracting and hard to see, but I'm going to leave the stake and those corner points in place. And let's see. Okay, so then what we do next is add image overlay, and we will call this the same, 1086 here and trail. Change the opacity down a bit. Let's browse it up. Documents, real estate, teaching, preserve. Okay, with this, kind of drag the corners about here. Line it up on that red boundaries. And I think this is about as good as it is. We lost this data during the conversion, so I had too many points there. And that's probably the problem in this demo here. But if you don't put so many points in as I do, try to keep it under 10,000 and you should be fine. Because I know I've got one that's like 9,800 or something and I didn't lose a single point on it. So that's a pretty good approximation. Let's also bring this up a little bit. And then I would go ahead also put another point. I'm going to call it center of building envelope, CBE. And I'll move it, just eyeball it where I know it needs to go. I think I need to do that while I have it under edit mode here. And I can see from the aerial shot underneath this layer, it's probably right about there. And save it. And we have a really good starting point here. Thank you for watching an episode of Nature Preserve Life in Mountain Air, New Mexico. If you'd like to follow along and support our channel, please press the subscribe button and gong that bell to be notified. After all, it's free. Free is a very good price. In the future, we'll plan to focus our episodes on our eco-friendly build of earthen construction and dark night astronomy, that big guy there, and tourism of the regional area, as well as establishing a Patreon account for the sole support of wildlife in Deer Canyon Preserve. So stay tuned. Cheers.